Sure.
Waiting for face space. There's that. And it's threatening that we're live. So we're here. It is Coffee with a Capper. I was trying to come up. I always try to do something with alliteration.
Right.
And I wanted to focus on the fact, and you and I talked about this yesterday, that this is going to be a little bit different because we've had you on before.
We have.
Most people know you. A lot of other people know of you. You are always in All Partners. You're usually in the Portsmouth office at least once a week. You just make a point to come and be here.
Yeah.
And I think one of my best descriptions that I've heard, and it was mine, is you're like a human smiley emoji. Yeah.
Thank you.
If you cross paths with Christian Scott and you end the engagement and you're still grumpy, and I could be really good at that because Christian's very good. God bless Christian. He does wellness checks.
Thank you.
I think you come to Portsmouth to make sure the staff is okay.
I totally do. I generally don't have business to do in the office. I just come in and I do my loop and I hug my way. And my wife will tell you, I hug my way into a building and I hug my way back out of the building.
Yes.
And I genuinely love people.
Yes.
Yeah.
We are going to talk a bunch about your giving and your family's mission.
Oh, we're gabbing with a giver? How's that for alliteration?
I know, but see,
that was off the cuff.
I was trying to move it. I was trying to move it towards a caffeine distribution beverage, right? Yeah, so that's where my head is always. Like we've done Nespresso with a networker because Terry LaJoy does a lot of networking.
Yep,
We've done in a couple of weeks. We're going to do macchiato with a mega. That'll be
nice.
We have Luana coming in to talk about all
That'll
things,
be a good time.
all things Luana and company.
Yep.
So yeah, I was trying to look. Yeah, there. Okay, it could have been gabbing with a giver. Anyway, we are going to spend most of our time talking about your mission that you and your family are very purposeful about.
Fabulous.
Making sure that because we talk about this within the company. It's think a million, earn $1 million, net $1 million, and then of course
give $1 million.
Give $1 million.
Yeah.
Which you're going to at the very least get that done or die on that hill.
Amen.
At some point. But bring everybody up to speed. Get us on the Christian Scott journey from get us to real estate. Give us your background until we got to real estate.
Sure. Born and raised in New Hampshire, grew up in Chester. I've never moved more than 8 miles, and that was only one town over. Undergrad at UNH.
What were you studying there?
Business administration with a minor in economics. Yeah, that was because I had an extra course that meant I just needed one more economics course to get a minor. I'm like, sure, let's go do that.
Let's do that. Yeah,
that's available.
Yep.
But that was in the time of how many boxes can I check, right?
Sure.
Everything you do in my mind, everything I did in high school was to get me into the right college. Everything I did at college was to get me into the right job. Everything you do in the job is to get to the next one. And it was that striving to achieve over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
So about 15 years in a variety of corporate roles. Most of that was with Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield. I had 11 years with them across 3 different stints. It was kind of crazy. While I was with them, Do
you understand their challenge, or are you like we get into these businesses and you get behind the curtain and you're like, oh, this is disgraceful, or obviously, and you were in the mud and you were working in that industry, so you understand the challenges it presents. But give us your 4.5 seconds on.
Yeah, the quick take. My first stint was just after Matthew Thornton Health Plan had been acquired by Blue Cross Blue Shield New Hampshire. Still privately owned. Second stint, they went public. Third stint, they became a national player. And I watched it go from everyone on your floor knows your name to you're a number to corporate. And so the de-evolution of corporate culture was interesting, for sure. No regrets, though.
It went from healthcare to health counts. Just counting numbers.
Yep.
Counting pennies.
Yep. And the health counts was all about the shareholders.
Yes.
It wasn't the employees or the Now so not that I'm necessarily anti-insurance, but I think that health sharing is a better model to go with. So that's what my wife and I participate in, which has been really interesting. But
tell me more about that real quick.
Yeah. So we we pay into, it's essentially paying into a monthly pool, and your standard events are covered, like your routine physicals, that sort of thing. If you have something major that comes up, the major items are covered, but in general, you take care of yourself and you take care of others. If someone has a major event come in, they may send an email out saying, can other people step in to help out with this? And it's just people taking care of people, right? It seems like a much more biblical model than people taking care of shareholders. Yeah. But yeah, during my last stint at Anthem, my goal was how many of the corporate benefits can I take advantage of? So we had a gym on site that I was pretty good about going to that, and we had a phenomenal tuition reimbursement program. So went back to SNU to get my graduate degree. So I've got a master's in organizational leadership. It was the way to get an MBA without having to take the math classes. It was all the people classes, and that was a wonderful experience though, because so many people roll from undergraduate right into graduate school and they have zero experience.
You would be, if you were to leave this industry and what your passion is, and which we'll get to.
Yeah.
If you went back into corporate America, you could be a CPO. You'd be the chief people officer.
Exactly.
Right. Just
exactly.
peopling is
That's
your
all
thing.
I got to do.
Yes.
That's all I've got to do. Yeah. So went and got my master's degree. Was on a trip to Atlanta, flying back, and there's all sorts of details into that story. But long story short, God made it pretty clear that something big was going to happen that year, and I had no idea what it was going to be. 3 months later, found out that our church was going into a multi-campus format. I'm like, I think I'm supposed to be a part of that. Next thing you know, they're hiring me to be a campus pastor, and I'm leaving a corporate job to go into vocational ministry. So my role was, as campus pastor, I took care of the people, and our senior pastor took care of the preaching, which was, as you can imagine, that was ideal for me.
Sure.
4 years into it, as clear as God was that I was supposed to leave corporate and go to ministry, he was clear that it was time to get out of ministry. So I stepped down with nothing to go to, and that was scary. Full transparency, I spent a year dealing with depression and anxiety that had been undiagnosed for 40 plus years of my life. That was a dark time. We were at the point where we were borrowing money from my parents to pay our mortgage. Like, that's legit where we were. It was bad.
Yeah.
But on the giving side, we were sponsoring missionaries in Poland, and we were continuing to make our monthly payments to, like, our monthly giving to that, even though I was borrowing money to pay for my mortgage. Crazy times.
But I have to imagine your parents also knew that was happening.
Yeah.
I didn't see you lying to your folks.
No.
We got another. Listen, we're breaking the ramen into 4 at this point. Like, you're not lying to them.
Full transparency, and it was such a blessing to us to be able to go to my parents. It's a humbling act, and it was a blessing for my parents to be in a position where they could help, right? And so that I always want to be in a position where if our children need anything, that we can step in with them as well. So about a year of that, reached out to a friend of mine. He and I had we'd done a men's group at his house for a couple of years. He and I were teaching leadership classes at church, realtor. Yeah. I reached out, I'm like, hey, you're on my mind. What's going on? He's like, oh, business is wonderful. I joined a team. Life is amazing. What are you doing? I'm like, great interviews. Can't figure out what's next. He goes, we're going to have breakfast together tomorrow morning. And I'm like, cool. I've got all the time in the world.
Yeah.
So went out to breakfast, and the third sentence out of his mouth was, you're going to make a great realtor. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, that wasn't on my radar. It hadn't been on my radar for 20 years because when I graduated from UNH, I was working full time. I missed studying. I took the real estate course and passed the exam.
Nobody ever. Go ahead, though.
No, I took the course and passed the exam just for something to do and never hung my license. Yeah, it took me 2 tries to get through, but I did it. And I'm like, oh, great information to have. That's fun. But it seemed irresponsible to be, 100% commission based. Who does that? I grew up in a conservative family.
Sure. Yeah.
My dad retired with 2 government pensions, so that kind of tells you the mindset.
My dad was
that we were with.
he was ROTC through college.
Yep.
Officer into Vietnam.
Yep.
And then got home and did 48 years at Raytheon.
There you go.
Yes, you will have a
Yep.
job.
I understand.
Why do you not have a paper route?
Right.
Because I'm 3, Dad. Because I can't pedal yet. Right. Yeah.
Teach me how to ride it. Buy me a bike first, Dad.
mm.
We've got to get that. Yeah. Anyway, so that was just before Christmas of 16. Talked to my wife. She's like, that seems to make a lot of sense. Talked to my parents. They're like, you'd be really good at that. 3 months later, I was licensed. Started another market center on a team. Proved to myself that I can do sales because I had avoided sales. And then when I realized that sales is just serving others, I'm like, oh, that's doable. So anyway, I was on a team for a year. Then they had a staff position come up as assistant team lead. And so I interviewed for it and they said, we need someone to love on our agents and help us bring other people into the family.
Chief people officer.
Right? I'm like, well, that's what I'm going to do anyway. And you're going to pay me for it. And I don't need to work weekends in sales anymore. Sweet. So went into that. But when you follow like the trajectory, corporate role, huge cut in pay to go to ministry. Then I go to 100% commission based where I was on a team. So it was split again. And then I went on staff.
Yeah.
I was going the wrong, in theory, it looked like I was going in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
Anyway, 2 years in, COVID hits. I was the first line item to get cut. Nate had been named regional director, and I knew Nate and Jeff from other things. And I said, you know what? If international is pegging Nate for regional roles, he's someone I need to get closer to and spend more time with. So I called Jeff. I'm like, hey, I want to transfer to your market center. He said, does your market center know? I said, yep. He said, come on over. And next thing you know, I'm here. Along that journey, though, so got here or got into real estate was not making any money, was borrowing money to pay my mortgage. Started listening to what Gary was saying. Right. I started down the Red Book path.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't want to be responsible for other people's income. Like, I don't want to have to lead generate so much that to have business for other people. That's not going to be for me.
Yeah.
I think I made it through like chapter 4 or 5. Like third level. Nope. I'm done.
Yep.
But then I found the Blue Book, the Millionaire Real Estate Investor.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm like,
there we go.
oh, there's another way to do this.
Yeah.
And so I started paying more and more attention to investing and educating myself as much as I could. Net result of that is get to Keller Williams with nothing. Less than 5 years later, we were net worth millionaires. We were exceedingly blessed. Don't get me wrong, exceedingly blessed. We made some very wise decisions on that path and took the opportunities that were in front of us. Gary teaches us, every listing appointment you go on, the first potential buyer is you. That's how I've been able to flip a house a year, is that I find situations where they just need an out and I'm that answer.
Yeah. When Gary, to your point, when you sit at a kitchen table, you should be thinking, what would the market pay for this?
Yep.
What would one of my investors pay for this? What would I pay for this?
Exactly. And so the house, we're flipping a house in Derry right now. It's less than 4 miles from my house. If you're going to do a flip and it's close to home, that's a beautiful thing. And I went in with those three. I went in, met with her, saw the house. It was an estate situation. And we came back and I said, here's what it's worth. Here's what it's worth if you empty it and clean it up. Here's what it's worth if you put some money into it. But here's what I'll pay. And she said, I'm good with having zero hassle. I'm like, as soon as it clears probate, we close. It cleared probate on a Thursday, and a week later, we closed. Yeah.
So when people hear you say that, and maybe they don't connect the dots, I mean, I will, and I'm not, and not in a comparison standpoint, but you see the commercials, We Buy Ugly Houses.
Yeah.
And their model is Mildred should grab the cat and just go, here's your check. I know the way your heart's wired. It's different. It's different with you. So what does that look like? Because I think people might be listening and they're just like, how do you pull that off? Like what? And at this point too, obviously you have relationships that if you have friends that you might be calling and saying, hey, there's this.
This was a lead from my trust attorney.
Okay.
That's how I got to this one. Because I genuinely love people to go in and care about them and hear their stories. And make them feel heard. So it was her sister had passed away last fall. Her sister was a big smoker, so the house was nasty, and she knew it. Yeah. And she knew it, and she lived an hour away. So for her and her husband to to pour into this house was challenging, and it was rather overwhelming because there wasn't a will. So she was starting from zero and had plenty of things to deal with. And the house had a reverse mortgage on it, which thankfully I had taken a reverse mortgage class with Brad about a month before this all came together. So that timing was fortuitous.
Kismet.
Completely.
Kismet. That's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. So I had an idea of what was going on with that. I knew she shared what was owed on the house. She shared what she believed the other expenses were, the other debts that her sister had outstanding. And I wanted to do the right thing. I knew what the house was worth and I knew what I could make on it. She cleared all the debts and still had $50,000 in her hand, because you have to take care of people on the front end if you want it to work out on the back end.
Yes.
And Gary says you make your money on the purchase. And I still knew that I was going to be in the black with that.
That the one project you have going on right now?
Well, no. So then getting into new construction, about a year and a half ago, a high school friend of mine, one of the few people that I've stayed in touch with from high school, her mother had a 35-year career in real estate, and her mother passed away. And she called and she's like, "Hey, my mom's got this 35-year book of business. What do I do?" And I'm like, "You go get your license." Like,
yes, ma'am.
You've just been handed a gift. She was working a couple of odd part-time jobs. I'm like, this is what you need to do. So she gets licensed, decides that Keller Williams isn't the right place, ends up at another brokerage, doesn't hit it off with the coach that they assigned her. So she calls me and she's like, "Hey, they recommended this other coach in the office, and it looks like you guys are friends on Facebook. What do you think I should do?" And I'm like, "Run." She's like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "He has no moral or ethical alignment with who you are whatsoever. This will end poorly for you." She's like, "Well, what's going to happen?" I'm like, "I'll coach you. Like, if you want to be serious about this, I'll coach you." She's like, what do you charge?" I'm like, "We're just going to get together for coffee. I don't care. Like, let me just help." She's like, "Okay, well, that's cool. But then I've got this other situation." I'm like, "Okay, what's that?" It's like, "Well, my stepdad has this piece of property that's already subdivided for three houses. He only wants to sell it to a realtor only wants to sell it to a developer who will let me list the houses when they're done." I'm like, she's like, "We had it under contract. At the last minute, the developer said, 'Nope, I want my realtor to handle it.' And Fred, thank goodness, said," and he was man of his word. He said, "Nope, we're done." She's like, "So how do I find a builder who's going to do this project and let me sell them?" I'm like, "Well, you sell it to me." She's like, "Are you serious?" I'm like, "Yeah, send it to me. Let me at least go look at it." Looked at it. The project made sense. So I went to go meet Fred, her father-in-law, and this is fun. So Ariel is she's my favorite Jewish friend. Like I said, friends since high school. We have some great conversations. And anyway, I go to meet her stepdad, and I reach my hand, I'm like, "Hi, Christian," and he reaches across and says, "Hi, Jewish." Instead of Fred, yeah, he clicked to my name being my religion as well. And so, yeah, I'm like, "Okay, Jewish, here we go." That's his sense of humor. Anyway, that was almost a year and a half ago. Yeah. We literally finally had our pre-construction meeting with the town of Derry yesterday.
Okay.
It's been working with engineers is challenging. It's been a steep learning
and you're
curve.
A people person,
right? Yeah, yeah. The only reason I worked with the engineer that we have is that he had done the original subdivision. I'm like, "Oh, he's got all the numbers. He knows the land. This is going to be easy." Not so easy, but whatever. It all comes together in God's timing. Will there still be profit? Yep. Will it be as high as we thought? Probably not. I'm probably going to make more on this flip than I'm going to make in building 3 houses, with a lot more headache building 3 houses.
Yeah.
But whatever. It's something to go learn and experience and give it a shot.
Well, for you, it's the project isn't the neighborhood. The project is your friend.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Like that's it. It's almost like this is going to be whatever this storm is. It's going to be worth it because she'll grow on the other side. I'll grow through helping her grow.
Her family will be in a far better place.
Yep. And she's going to prove to herself that she should have been doing this all along.
Right. Either that or she's going to bail and sell, and we'll do a golden handoff with someone.
And then you'll have the thumb drive. Then you'll have the 35-year thumb drive. That's good.
There's money in her database. She just needs to go mine that money. And there's money in everyone's database,
Yep.
right?
Well, so for you, when you got started,
Yeah.
because this is challenge everybody. I think people think when they come in and see a veteran like yourself, or I used to always joke, if you've ever been to the Meredith office, the desk and the credenza that are in my office in the Meredith office,
Yeah.
that's Nate's original desk from when we moved over here in 2013. And it's just so dated, but it's amazing that I have the original arc. But I used to joke with him when it like the office he's in now, it was on the wall where his TV is.
Okay.
And the cabinets were up against that wall facing Dave Garvey's office. And I'd walk in and I'd be like, you realize all the kids think that like the credenza is just full of comic books and animal crackers. And what I meant by that is I think a lot of people, and especially at the age he was at when he got started, right? 50 now, but when he started this little party in 2004, I think people were just like, oh, silver spoon. His parents handed him a check when he got back from Texas. None of that's the case.
No.
And even as well as he is able to connect with people like yourself, getting started is just like, who do I talk to? How do I not make it salesy? So for you, what was your connection point when you're like, okay, I have to make sure I'm having enough conversations to get to a point where you are now? And I think you, like a lot of veterans now, you've got people coming back to you for help. You're tripping over projects. You've engaged in all these other ways that you've connected your commonalities. And it's not just this conversation is about a transaction. The transactions are flourishing out of the conversations you're naturally having.
Yeah. I've always been focused on relationships. No surprise, right? And when I got into real estate, it became not necessarily how many calls can I make a day, how many people can I just go spend time with? How do we just go do life together? Hey, you're on my mind. Let's go grab coffee tomorrow. Does it get to real estate? Maybe it doesn't. It gets there when they're ready. I make the most of the relationships that are in front of me. Not from a business perspective, from a relationship perspective. How do I just go pour into other people? Because that fills me, that fuels me.
How did you, knowing that that's how you're wired?
Yeah.
How did that satisfy / calm you when you were paying your parents back? Because there was a chapter of your life where you are stressed about finances.
For sure.
And you're
for sure.
well divorced from that now. But like in that moment, there had to be some tension with, I'm gonna go do macrame with Claire. Then I'm gonna go have a coffee with Steve. And these are feel good moments, and this fills my cup. But I got to pay some people back, and I got to make sure that I'm feeding and clothing my loved ones.
One of the benefits of being on a team was that I had access to listings, and so this is 2017, very different market. I'd host open houses every weekend. When the listing agent was tired of being at that open house, I'm like, let me go do it.
More people in.
Let me just go spend time with more people. Twice, I think I've been at open houses and I've done hundreds, but probably twice, someone has walked in unrepresented who wanted to put an offer in on that house. One of those houses was almost $1 million. I didn't have $1 million listing. My team did. Right? The team that I was on did. So I had access to that. And I just focused on taking care of the people. And when they said, yep, this is what we want to do, we want you to do it. Like, okay, let's go. A lot of my clients have come from my church background.
Yeah.
I mean, even after I stepped down, I stayed at that church. I had 18 years in that community. So there are people that I've helped them with real estate, people that I've done their baptism, I've done their mom's funeral, I've done their weddings. Like those are key moments in life that, not that it's leverage, you need to just maintain them and continue building, right? Continue growing and deepening the relationships. Sure, there are people that run phenomenal businesses on superficial relationships. I'm not a 1,000 mailer a week guy. I'm not a cold call Fizbos. That's not who I am. There is no wrong way to do lead gen as long as you're doing lead gen. Call it what, for me, it was, let me just go spend time with people. That was great. So is volunteering lead gen? It might be because you're building relationships. You're not there to talk real estate. You're there to build relationships.
Yes.
And that's where the depth of business comes from, where it's not just transactional.
You'll appreciate this, and I've probably shared this story with you, joking about the whole Christian and Jewish thing. Back when Jason Abrams was more readily available, he was a consistent visitor up here to 463. And one of his visits where he came to teach, we were in the training room here.
Yep.
The training room was facing the other way. Screen was on this hallway, right?
Back in the
Before we
day.
put those other offices in. Yes, there were 2 doors on the main hallway, which is crazy to think about now. And he came in and we had a Christmas tree on either side of the whiteboard. And I said, Jason, just so you know, I said, that's a Christmas tree. That's a Hanukkah bush. I just want to let you know we're being ecumenical. Nate was like, what did you just say to him? I'm like, listen, if I'm not here later.
But, well, it's so funny, though, that we have, especially as agents, not necessarily, not so much in leadership, but as agents, so often we think, these people that we see on stage at family reunion or the people that work at International, in our minds, we put them on a pedestal, right?
Celebrities.
Yeah, celebrities. Yeah.
Yep.
They're all approachable.
Mm-hmm.
They're all approachable.
When he was here for that session, that's when I first heard him talk about or ask the question, what are you near that you're not currently in? And that's where you were just talking about, like, you've got this deep relationship with all these people that you share a faith with. Like, I always tell people, like, find the thing that you enjoy.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And like, where are you the straw in the drink?
Adam Dow.
And
stay on the golf course.
Yeah, Adam.
Right.
Adam. Yeah, because that allows Adam, and it's brilliant what he's doing now. Because of course he was been a member at Kingswood. I think he still might have a membership at Kingswood, but he was fighting his way in to Bald Peak, which is up in Tufton Borough. Yep. Which, if you don't know where it is, that's exactly how they want it. Yes, yes.
There's a reason.
Yeah, I've never heard of it. Exactly. Right. Yes.
You're not going to a tournament there.
If you're in Tufton Borough going up to Molten Borough and you see the flashing yellow and the big stone gate, don't take a left. You do not belong there. I sneak in once a year for a lacrosse tournament.
Nice.
Oh, it's beautiful up there. Anyway, and like, to his point, when he joined, he's like, Timmy, the thing that I do is I'll just call them and say, put me in with some randos. And he's just going to golf with people that he doesn't know. And that is so brilliant, because you have somebody trapped for 4 hours, and we are in the industry people want to talk about,
for sure.
Because he's probably going to be up there and he's going to be with a day trader, some guy that sells life insurance, and then some guy that's just retired. Like, he joked too. He goes, yeah, I'm the pleb up there. I'm the only person that lives here. Everybody else comes in for the summer. They're summering. Oh my gosh. Like, oh, I'm right down the street. So it's really funny, but like, he has maximized the opportunity there by being in the commonality of golf.
Yes.
And then you share that. You've already got that tribe.
Yep.
And you do that with your faith. You do that with a lot of things you do. But with your faith, it just makes total sense, because it's not like I'm going to go join this church until they trust me and then start to sell to them. This is my faith where I practice. And I've always said this to everybody who's getting into real estate. Like, all the people in your life are going to take the trust and the knowledge of you from other avenues or venues in your life. And they're just going to reinstall it here.
Find what you enjoy and become norm at that place where everybody knows your name, right? That you walk in and people are happy to see you. They greet you. They look forward to their time with you. That could be a local coffee shop. It could be the place that you go for ice cream in the summer. Like, what do you enjoy? Your gym. Leave the earbuds off, right? I've got a friend in Miami. She goes to the same dog park every day, and there are plenty of people that go to the same dog park every day. So she built her business around that. One of her community events is the Halloween dress your dog up walk, right? So finding that commonality can be around anything. It can be around sports. It can be around reading. It can be around art, whatever, whether you're the artist or just appreciate art, live music. Right. When you add repetition to what you're doing, you find out that there are other people that are in that same pattern.
And you find your tribe.
Exactly.
And that makes it just joyful.
Right.
So I think you must have hit a line at some point where you realized, like, okay, I've gone from real estate scarcity to real estate abundance.
Oh, for sure.
Because you're not, and I'd say there's agents nationwide that today they're like, I need this to close. because I need X, Y, and Z to happen. And I would, for lack of a better term, and not to insult anybody, but that
Sure.
you are functioning near scarcity, if not in scarcity.
Yeah.
So for you, when was it that you thought, okay, I'm going to go be with the people I care about,
Yep.
be in the environment I want to be in, and a shared commonality? The business will arrive, and when it does, I will find a way to make sure that I can help somebody, like you are with your friend with that little neighborhood, right?
Yep.
I can help somebody. There's going to be enough profit that I'm going to be able to take care of my family, and then above and beyond that, take care of others. And I wanted you to start talking about the stuff that you're doing globally.
Yeah. So some of the take care of others things. A couple years ago, buddy of mine, we were having coffee, and he looked at me and he said, "I dare you to outgive God." I said, "I don't even know what that means, but okay."
Yeah.
So I went and started doing my research, right? And the one time in the Bible that God says, "Go ahead and challenge me," is challenge me with your giving, right?
I hope his accounts at Citizens. I hate Bank of America. You never know. Well,
Service credit union guy.
Service credit.
Yeah.
Lighthouse downstairs,
there you
right
go.
downstairs.
Yep, there you go. So he and I had that conversation, and that it stuck with me. And it was that following September, Anna and I, we were having dinner for our anniversary. I don't even remember which anniversary it was. And we're having dinner, and that's when like you reflect on the year
I'll
and what
cut
we've
that out
been
later, don't
through
worry.
and all of that. So I said, remember when we got married and we're like, can you imagine what life is going to be when we're both making $50,000 a year? Like, that's going to be amazing. Because at the time, collectively, we're like, when we got married, collectively, we were making about $50,000 a year.
You were cracking ramen in 4. Yes,
right?
Yeah,
and we're like, well, so the goal was we each hit 50. And I'm like, and then we just kind of flew by that. And then we're like, we were both going towards what happens when we're both making $100,000? And then we hit that plateau and we're like, okay, well, life didn't change. Like it still is what it is. I'm like, what would happen if we could reach the point, like what will our life look like when we reach the point where we're giving $100,000 a year?
Receiving the 100, giving the 100.
Yeah. And she's like, ooh, well, what'll that take? I'm like, I don't even know.
Right.
I don't even know. But
it'll be fun to find out.
Like in my heart, it was an act of obedience to see how much can I give? And it's not, how big does my business have to be so that when I give my 10% tithe? No, it's how big does my business have to be so that I can give that number? It's not about percentages with me. It's about, that was the number that was on my heart. Took less than 3 years and we hit that number. And then the following year didn't quite hit it. Then the next year, I think we hit it again the next year. This year we're on track again. And then you mentioned the think $1 million to get to the point of give $1 million. And now we're looking at what do our investments have to do to get us to the point where we can give $1 million? Where is God calling us to pour in? So you mentioned like locally, nationally, internationally, wherever. So part of a local church plant that did a capital campaign. That was a substantial investment from us on top of what we were already giving. That was like an above what we do. We have missionary friends in Nicaragua that there was a number on our hearts, like that gets sent to them every month. I don't do it. That's an automatic. I think we get 2% on that. I think we get points on a city card for that.
So you can fly over and visit.
There you go.
You can fly over and visit.
Well, that's where we go. And I'm making I think it's my 4th trip this year, leading a trip. So, there's 16 of us going down this year.
When will you go?
August 8th.
Okay.
We leave August 8th.
Okay.
But these are people that, Anna, so one of our investments, so I do a lot with investing, and we invest in some obscure things. We bought a house in Marco Island, Florida in April of 2020, just as the world shut down. It appreciated really well. It cash flowed until it didn't. When it stopped cash flowing in 2024, we sold it. I've never been to Marco Island, which is the fun part of that investment. It was just a numbers game.
You bought it on the phone.
Yeah. Someone that I had met people through going to events in I think it was a family reunion that I met Dale. Yeah. And ended up using his wife to buy me a house. Yeah. Anyway, that profited really well. So reached out to my missionary. I'm like, what's like big vision? What do you want to do this year? and they have a large parcel of land. He
Yeah.
said, we sponsor, it's like the Division II Nicaragua national soccer team. He said, we would love to put in a real field, a real soccer field for them to play in. Like there were like rocks in it and horses would graze there during the day. So you
Sure.
had to like literally go rake
Yep.
the field before you,
Yes.
rake the pitch. I said, okay, well, we built 2. And I didn't tell him it was coming. Like it just showed up in his bank account. And he
Yeah.
called me the next morning. He called me. He's like, what did you do? And I'm like, God blessed us. So I get to be a blessing to you.
Mm-hmm.
What do we get to do together?
Mm-hmm.
So when I was there last year, his vision is for them to, Nicaragua is completely corrupt, like such a messed up government. And
So if you disappear on a 60 Minutes episode, it's because you sent money to Nicaragua.
to Nicaragua, yeah, I'm that guy. But his next vision is to to be off the grid, like to install solar. And so when I was there last year, I'm like, well, what does that look like? He said it's going to take $60,000. I'm like, okay, well, let me focus on the next big investment and see what that does. So that's like how God is prompting us and pushing us.
Mm.
But Scott's an amazing, inspiring person who thinks very different. He was a C-suite executive in a Fortune 500 when he sold everything and went to Nicaragua with his wife and kids. A couple years ago, he got it in his heart that he wanted to build a community center. Right, the people, rather than them having to like come out to the farm, like to be right in the heart of the people. And I'm like, cool, let's find a nice place near a park or something. No, his vision was, because he hires day laborers, like local day laborers, his vision was, let's go buy a piece of land in the middle of the 2 most rival gangs so we can hire people from both gangs so they have to work together all day and understand that each other is human. I'm like, you're crazy. And he did, and it was successful, and tensions decreased because you had to acknowledge the humanity of each other.
Yes. Yeah.
When you're literally hauling buckets of concrete up ladders next to someone, you realize we're all equal. Nobody's greater than anyone else.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the solar project is going to go into this same compound where the two soccer pitches are. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So when Scott got there, the first thing that they built on the land, because part of our faith is baptism by immersion, and the first thing that they did was build a baptistry.
Okay.
It has now expanded into multiple dormitories, an outdoor pavilion, a prayer building, like a prayer house kind of thing for them. There are missionaries from all over the world that come to them, and now there are sports teams from all over Central America that are coming. I believe I think when we're there this year, I think he said it's a soccer team that Scott has the only place that can facilitate that many beds for soccer teams to come. And it's a U.S. soccer team that's coming, and they're going to be doing clinics for the locals.
Wow.
These are people that in poverty at a whole nother level, like I'd never experienced before in my life. Drinking, drugs, prostitution, gambling, rampant. They have nothing to do.
Yeah.
They have nothing to do. So when you can give them an outlet and give them a safe place to be. When we were there last year, they were hosting a soccer match. There were nearly 200 people there. Those are 200 people that aren't out in the streets.
Doing the wrong thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're laughing and smiling and just having community together with their neighbors, with 3 generations of a family that live in the same 1-bedroom cinder block hut, if that.
Right. Well, you think about you go to a game at Fenway.
Yeah.
And the same 2 people that would flip each other off in traffic, right, are high-fiving.
As long as they're rooting for the same team.
I mean, this year they're not high-fiving at Fenway. So, and the Celtics are on. Yeah, shouldn't have used a sports analogy, but you get my point. Yeah,
sure.
it creates a common space, and it uncovers a commonality that they didn't know they had. Almost like the rival gang members, right?
Yep.
Like suddenly it's Sharks and Jets. Like you had West Side Story going on,
right? Well,
for a second.
Why are we rivals? I don't know, because the guy leading this told me that we're rivals.
Yes, because I was taught to hate you.
Yes,
because I live over on that street.
I'm 1 block over.
Yes. West Side. Yep. Incredible. How much of your action has rubbed off on the kids? Like, is it just merely like, this is what mom and dad do, or do you see them starting to gain an interest?
So with our son, it's a little bit more of a process. Through high school, we wanted him focused on his grades. We're like, your grades, your job. We will pay you for your grades. We don't want you to work. We just need you to be focused on
your job is A's.
Yep. Now he's working full time in the Air National Guard, and he's making a boatload of money. And it's taken a long time to convince him tithing is a minimum. Like that's like price of entry. Like you need to be at 10%. And if you're at 10% with where you are now, when you're at a higher number, the 10% is easy. And then it becomes a game of, well, it was 10% this year. How much is it next year? We had a call last month with our tax strategist, and because I got out of that 10% is the maximum. No, 10% is like baseline. How do I be more?
Yeah.
We ended up at like 20% of our adjusted gross income was our giving last year. We get to do that. It's crazy. It's crazy. Our quality of life hasn't changed. Our standard of living hasn't changed. Do I still enjoy nice things?
You sold your sports car.
I sold my Ferrari. I had a Ferrari for 4 years. Was that
You're becoming
fun?
monastic. I thought you were going to come in with the robe and the ropes. Yeah.
It was a ton of fun. We made a lot of memories. I shared the car with some of my best friends who never would have experienced something like that. And when it had run its course, we moved on, and there'll be something different. That money rolled into doing a flip that is going to net me far more than the car.
Yeah.
Right? Could we go do the car again? Sure. Now is just not the season for it. And that's fine.
Yeah.
Everything has a season. Nothing that we do in life is permanent. Right? And so it might be a season of you need to like buckle down, do your 10 calls a day, make sure that you've got it. Do your 100 contacts a week if that's the number that gets to your goal. I think one of the most liberating moments for me was when I looked at the models and I realized, no, the numbers change based on what your goal is for GCI. That's what dictates what your numbers are.
Yeah.
When I was in group coaching at my previous market center, my coach was all about 100 contacts a week, 100 contacts a week. I couldn't motivate myself to do 100 contacts a week because I had no idea, I had no vision or experience of what that math looked like on the other side. And then when I looked at my goal and I'm like, okay, I'm coming from zero. I need to make $50,000 this year. That didn't require 100 calls a week. So when you sit down and you just work the formula, work the spreadsheet, it'll tell you, oh no, here's how many contacts you need to make. Yeah. Okay, well, let's go do that instead. Your goal is attainable.
Yeah.
Whatever goal you have, it is attainable. Well, and that was another thing. Gary said, any goal you set, you can achieve in 5 years or less.
Yes.
We set that goal of net worth millionaire under 5 years.
Yeah. Yeah. People usually overestimate what they can do in 1 and underestimate what they can do in 5.
Yeah.
So for you, I'm thinking of Brian Moran has a great book called The 12-Week Year.
Yes.
Which is basically every quarter has 13 weeks, take some time off. And we're going to talk about you actually taking a deep breath at some point. I guess the question is, how do you chunk it down? Because if I'm an agent listening right now and I've been sitting here talking to you and I'm hearing like, okay, it feels like his calendar is full of hugs and emotion and soccer fields. Like, so how do you know at the end of each quarter that you are tracking? Because obviously your education and you grabbed economics because you were close. So let's just add that. Then you go back and get your master's in business. So you're a numbers person, obviously. Yeah. If we're not using metrics, we can become emotional leaders, and you are one, right? And I share that pain. So how do you make sure at the, and even if you chunk it down to the day, when your head hits the pillow tonight, how do you and the wife know that you're winning?
Don't hate me for this because you're a coach. God is faithful. If I'm out doing the activities that God has called me to do, and I'm loving on his people and serving others, the business comes. The business is a byproduct of living the life I'm supposed to live. So do I spend a lot of time doing non-business things? Sure. I'm part of the leadership at our church. I volunteer every Sunday.
Mm.
Historically, it's been working in the infant toddler nursery during first service and then going to second service. Now they've got me hosting, so I'm on stage and I miss my babies. And I'm in a home group on Wednesday nights that we've been leading for 4 years that now we're teaching a class. I'm volunteering with a couple guys at End 68 Hours of Hunger this Saturday, because those are the things that are important. And my business continues to be blessed through relationships. I have a listing in Barnstead that just went under contract last night. It was an agent in Portland who reached out to an agent in Andover to see if she covered New Hampshire. She said no, but Christian does. Reached out to me, totally hit it off with the seller the moment we met. We listed it a week and a half ago and it's under contract. But that was just connections. Those were connections about being involved, in being involved in regional events, being involved in being one of the OG members with James Shaw with the Pivot Group. Those are still some of the
fantastic.
Those are still some of the key relationships. Even if I'm not involved with it now, they're some of the key relationships that I built, because for the first few years, if James had an event, I was at it. I was a staple in that community. Then I reached a point where I felt like not that I've learned everything I can from him, but I've learned enough that if I really wanted to blow up my business, and I know enough about the models that I could do it. If I want to follow the models, I can go do it. And there are other people that need that seat because they need to go have the experience. I've had the experience. I'm grateful for the experience, and I want other people to be able to be a part of that. So I had,
and it was a season.
That's it. It was a season. Was there a little bit of FOMO when people were reaching out to me from London from the latest event? Yeah,
the last event,
a little bit.
It's so funny too. And
he went international.
Well, and again, he's not going to have the numbers that Family or Mega has. But I love that they're going to San Diego next year.
The numbers. So, my experience, anything over 150, you're not going to connect. You're not. We're part of an investor mastermind in Austin, not related to Keller Williams at all. About 140 at events 3 times a year, and I do not miss those. That's the season that I'm in. Is I'm gonna go be with people that are far advanced from where I am from an investing standpoint.
Moving to a smarter table.
Yeah, and making sure that there's also people in the room that are where I was. Yeah. So there are people that look at me and they're like, we want to get to you some point. And then there are people that I can still look and say, oh, that's who I can learn from to get to the next stage.
Yeah.
One of the biggest learnings in that group was our financial education needs to outpace our earning by about 4 to 5 years. So if you're looking right now and you're like, okay, my GCI is $100,000 and my goal is $1 million, well, you need to understand what is going to be required of you at that next level, whether it's in $100,000 increments, $250,000, whatever the number is for you.
Yes.
One of the worst things that our society does is they acquire lots of resources, they pass away, and they hand them off to someone else with no education around
Nobody
it.
has the
They have
ability to.
no idea what they're doing. And it doesn't matter whether you're giving that all away to family or you give it away to a charity. Charities don't know what to do with that money if you give it to a local charity.
Yeah.
So making sure that your education outpaces your income and teaching the next generation to make sure that they're not overwhelmed when it happens.
Yeah, money doesn't change you. It amplifies who you are.
That was one of the most brilliant things I ever learned. And I think that might have been in the Red Book. I'm like, oh, because I grew up in a scarcity mindset. Very much so. And so to get out of that, and that was being taught money is the root of all evil. No, it's the love of money that's the root of all evil. So they're two very different things.
Yes.
And when you don't have money, you're scared of money, or you believe that money is, if we didn't have it, then it must be bad because we have the things that are healthy for us.
Yes.
Right. So we didn't have it. So that must be a bad thing. No, when you realize that it just lets you be a greater version of you, unless you're a crummy person, and then you're just going to be worse.
Well, yeah, that again,
that happens
it doesn't
too,
make you a bad
right?
person. It amplifies who you are.
Exactly. It's a magnifier.
You could be handed a whole bunch of money.
Yep.
And I always joke, when we start to think about what would you do if you were earning X or Y or Z, like, I don't think there's a single well, there are clearly, because we see them on the news, but there's not too many people who are just like, who am I thinking of? Dr. Evil. Right. Sharks and lasers. Right. Like if you had a whole bunch of money, you're gonna take care of your niece and nephew's education or whatever.
Yeah.
You're gonna go to Nicaragua and put in the solar, put in the well for clean drinking water.
Yeah.
Not the total opposite of that.
Right.
Yeah. That's the biggest challenge, and it's fascinating that our country still to this date, Department of Education, if you're listening, but not.
Mm-hmm.
How do we not have those just basic tab A slot B classes?
Yeah.
That those are still not taking place, and that's a whole nother show for another time. But you have to get a college education. You have to have a mortgage.
No.
And then you have to go get the corporate job. And they're all versions of handcuffs that a lot of us grew up in households. Like I said, my dad, BC, ROTC, Army, Vietnam, Raytheon for 48 years.
All. Yeah.
So that's all I saw was like, I have to go get a job and go be at that job and go do the thing.
Yep. Well, and so my dad, I'm not sure if he I don't think he actually finished first semester of freshman year of college because he turned 18, dropped out of college, and decided that joining the Army and going to Vietnam was a better option than going to college. And being in the Army Reserves was a brilliant career for him after Vietnam. He ended up in the post office, retired as postmaster of my hometown, which was great. And I can't tell you how many times
I bet the stamps on those letters were straight.
Right? But I can't tell you how many times growing up I heard him say, you need to get a college education because I've gone as far as I can go in my position without getting a degree. Like, okay. When I started kindergarten, my mom went back to school to get another degree. So like I saw the education with my mom, and I had my dad constantly saying, I don't have opportunity because I don't have education. I'm like, education. So that was no brainer. Like, this is just what you're going to do. You're going to graduate high school. You're going to go to college. You're going to get a good job. When they realized, it was harder for them to comprehend the idea that I had multiple jobs. Like it wasn't, this was not a straight line career path at all. And that was hard for them, for my dad to have 20 years and be like, what do you mean you're 5 years in and you're leaving? Like, I can't be here. Like, this isn't what I'm supposed to be doing right now.
So with what you do, I mean, I think, and Nicaragua's a road trip and you'll enjoy yourself. But it's business and there's work and there's labor and there's love, right?
There's 2 days of fun.
Okay.
I mean, it's all fun.
Yeah.
But there are 2 days that are specifically downtime. But when we're there, we're walking out into these tiny neighborhoods where if you've got a metal roof over your head, you're lucky, and it probably leaks, so your dirt floor becomes mud every time it rains. And we call it prayer walking, and we just go and spend time with people in their huts, their shacks, their houses, whatever.
Yep.
We go do hospital visits. Their hospital. Oh, picture like a horror movie that they're like exploring a shut down hospital. That's their standard of cleanliness and care.
28 days later.
Yeah.
When Cillian Murphy wakes up in 28 days later in a hospital bed.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And six people in a room. If your family isn't there, you're probably not going to get fed because they need to bring you food. It's an open air hospital, so there's this open air courtyard where the cats are just wandering around.
I love that.
Yeah.
But it's not healthy.
I mean, depending on what ails you, you might have a bug net over your bed.
Maybe.
Right? It's really eye-opening.
You get two broken arms and there's a gnat on your nose and you can't swallow.
You're just toasted. So like families have to stay with you. And so how do you go love on the people that their family isn't there?
Yeah.
How do you just go be a word of encouragement? How do you go and just say, I'm from America. I don't speak your language, and I don't understand like your living conditions, but know that I love you and that God loves you. what we can go and provide.
Yeah. The safety instruction on a plane is to put your mask on first so you can take
Oh.
care of others. And you do that quite often.
Okay,
I guess
hold on though.
Okay.
Nope. So every time I hear that, every time they say that, my first thought is, I can hold my breath longer than most of the people on this plane. I can get 4 masks on before I need to take a breath. Then I can come back and get mine.
I appreciate that.
That's how my mind operates. That's how I think. But yeah, it's so important to find your own time.
So who helps you put yours on?
That's an interesting question. Prior to the flip, because I'm so focused on that, I was doing really good about walking regularly.
Okay.
Just getting outside and getting fresh air.
Mm-hmm.
And usually sometimes I walk just in silence.
Mm.
Usually there's a podcast or an Audible going.
Mm-hmm.
It's never watching or listening to the news. You've got your multiple screens here. I haven't watched the news in years. I just don't.
Mm.
I can't impact it. And it doesn't make me feel good. Like, there are so many other things that I can focus my time and energy on,
Mm-hmm.
where I can have an impact, that it's far more important to me. Serving is fulfilling to me. It's just coming in here fuels me. Going and holding babies at church fuels me. Is it exhausting? Yeah. 2 adults and 8 kids under the age of 3 for an hour and a half. That's a lot going on. And when some of those kids, as they get older, when they see me, like, instead of in the kids area, when they see me out in the auditorium and they come running over to hug me.
Mm.
When Chloe sees me and she runs and giggles and squeezes me, fills my soul. Right? Those things are so good. So good. Being around people that challenge me to think bigger, to dream bigger, people who celebrate with me. Kaylee Brackett's amazing.
Amen.
Just
Amen.
go spend a few minutes with her. There are things that I share with her because even if like, it just doesn't matter what it is, she will always celebrate and encourage other people.
Yep.
And so to go in and find opportunities to celebrate and encourage her as well, it's so much fun.
She's our rudder at this
Oh
company.
my gosh.
Yep. So even keeled.
Yep.
And I joked with JV and Susanna and Nate. You always know if you're complaining to mom. And Kaylee and it's the same cadence because you can almost hear her rolling her eyes when she does it. But I'll go in and she's like, "What's going on?" And I'm like, being a crybaby. And she's like, "It's hard." Whenever she says that to you, that's Kaylee saying, "Shut up and get back to work and be grateful." And there's a great video that I tripped over on TikTok, and it was just a bunch of guys on a podcast, but he was reading the quote of basically what a blessing it is to be burdened by the thing that you wanted years ago. Right. Just and like
that's huge.
That's from there's also James Lawrence, Iron Cowboy. It's a great book. It's the guy that did 50. He did 50 Ironman in 50 days in 50 states in a row. And his whole thing was because he dragged the kid along with him.
Yep.
Middle of the process, middle of the country, and a couple had reached out and said, "Our son has been inspired." And I can't remember if it was cerebral palsy or whatever.
Okay.
And his team was like, "We got to stop when we see him." And he's like, "No, I'm going to bring him with me." So he pulled this kid for the 2.5-mile swim in a raft behind him.
Oh my gosh.
And then they built onto his road bike,
Yep.
like a sidecar, which is not helpful on a carbon road bike.
Nope.
And he did 112 on the bike, and
Yep.
then he pushed him for the marathon.
For 26 miles.
And everybody said afterward, "Why did you do it?" And he said, "When I heard his story and I heard that we were inspiring him, I thought to myself, I don't have to do this. I get to do this every day." He doesn't have the ability to do what I'm suffering through,
Yep.
that I chose, that I mapped out, that I've been driven by my faith and my strength to do. I get to do this.
I could walk into my old church and get to within 5 feet of when Jen Lonis looked at me and said, "We get to do this."
Mm.
There are people, no matter what we're doing in life, for us at that point, it was ministry. There are people that would love to be able to be in vocational ministry.
Mm.
There are people that would love to be able to have freedom over their schedules, to sell real estate, to invest, to whatever. We get to do this on a daily basis. And when we wake up with that perspective, what do I get to do today? Not what do I have to do. When it's a have to, that's a scarcity mentality.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
This is I'm burdened by this.
Yes.
No, what do we get to?
Yeah.
One of my favorite, it's kind of my life verse, Ephesians 2:10. Says, we're God's workmanship, created in Christ Jesus to do good works that he prepared in advance for me to do. So I get up, I'm like, well, what are the good works that God has for me today? He's already figured them out. I get to go find them. What does that look like? Today I get to hang out with Timmy and be on camera. Cool. I get to do that today. I started my day with my chiropractor.
Yep.
He always makes me smile. Makes me feel better too. But always makes me smile with because he's always got a silly dad joke.
Yep.
We just get to spend time with staff, get to drive in listening to Justin Donald, who's one of my mentors, listening to his podcast. From here, I'm going to meet with the project manager for this new construction and the guy who's doing our site work. I get to go have those conversations. Then I'm going to go show houses this afternoon in Milford. I get to do all of that in a day. It's crazy. Sunday, one of the rare times that I'm not going to be at church, I get to fly to Austin with my wife. We're going to spend 3 days with an amazing group of human beings, being inspired, inspiring others.
That's your investment group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And then we get to come home and be with our kids and our family. Like, life is filled with blessings. I mean, let's go old school bold. What you focus on expands.
Yes. Yep.
Right? It's RAS, reticular activating system. It's real. If you choose to see blessings and beauty in the world, you will see more blessings and beauty. When you take a moment and just embrace that whatever moment you're in, you're the one person in the world that gets to experience that. Is it a bird that makes you happy that you see a heron fly over? Is it exciting to you that you saw an exotic car? Did you go for a walk on the beach? Like, what fuels you? Getting back to that point of our childhood where we see awe and wonder in everything. Way more fun.
Yeah.
Way more fun.
Well, Michael Mayer in 7 Levels of Communication.
Yes.
Today, somewhere in your city, someone's looking for help, and it's your
Yep.
job to find them. Like,
Yep.
that's the video game of what we get to do is go find the person that needs our help
Yes.
in this industry.
Yeah. Do you remember when he came and spoke to the Seacoast Board?
Yes.
He was
Wentworth. He was at Wentworth.
Yep. That was a classic Christian moment because in his intro, he's sharing his story and he was getting pretty emotional. Well, he happened to be getting emotional as he was walking by my table. I stood up and hugged the guy. Never met him. Stood up and hugged him. And he goes, "Oh, that was a really good hug." And then I think it was probably Carol Goodwin in the back row yelling, "Christian gives the best hugs."
So good.
So yeah, I'm stranger, doesn't matter.
Yep.
We're friends. We're friends for a reason now.
Yeah, we have
We're encountering each other for this moment. And some of the people that I see, one of the saddest things for me and when I was working at the church was realizing that for a lot of the congregation that came through, I was the one hello, the one smile, the one hug that they would get all week. Why do I have to know a person to be able to offer them that blessing? I smile at everybody. My kids, it drives them crazy. Like, can we just go someplace and you not make a friend? I'm like, no, it's
Impossible.
It's just what we're gonna do. It's what we're gonna do. Yeah. We're gonna love on people. And, love people generously.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what we do.
Yeah, I think when I say to agents, you have to remember, if you're on the phone with a met or an unmet, especially an unmet, and it doesn't go well, don't forget you might be the only verbal conversation they have all day.
Yep.
All week, for that matter, Yep.
And if it doesn't go well, it's okay that you're not the right person to work with them, or they're not the right person to work with you. I share this with a lot of people, especially new agents. My wife, who's never done sales, but she's got a brilliant mind. When I first started out in real estate, I mean, it's hard. I'm not gonna lie. It was hard. Rejection. I don't take rejection well because I just want everyone to like me. She said, when a transaction doesn't work out, when a person isn't the right one, when a customer isn't the right one to become a client, instead of viewing it as a punishment why don't you view it as a blessing from God? It's his hand of protection taking you out of a situation
Mm.
that wasn't going to end well for you. And if he's doing that, don't you think he has something better for you on the other side? Like, yeah.
Yes.
There are clients that we go looking at a ton of houses, and I tell them, like, I'm very open with my faith. And whether my clients share my faith or not, same approach to them.
Yes. Yep.
And that approach is, God's already figured out where your next house is. We get to go on this scavenger hunt to go find it for you. So if this isn't the right house, cool.
Yeah.
We're one step closer to the right house, and it's going to be even better.
Yeah.
Because if this isn't it, he has something better for us.
Yeah. I don't believe in coincidences.
No,
There's
no such thing. No
it
such
is-
thing.
It's all set.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
When you think about getting started with real estate and where it's gotten you with everything that you've done, what's the pinch you moment? Like the biggest, and this is a huge question, I know, but like
Yeah.
the overarching, we're here doing this.
Along the journey, one of those first pinch me moments was when I realized how approachable people were.
Mm.
When I sat in a class with Mark King and he gave out his phone number and I reached out and he responded, like, oh my gosh. Now I've spent a weekend at Mark's house with 3 other couples just doing life together and learning wealth building from his strategy. Very different strategy than I'm on now.
Mhm.
Nothing wrong with it, just a different strategy. Like, he's at the time, he was the president of the company we work for.
Mhm.
And I'm like, oh, I get to hang out with people like this.
Mm.
I'm in rooms with people that I've read their books, and now we go hang out together in Texas
Yeah.
because we have alignment.
Yeah.
Do I pay to be in that room? Sure, that's okay. You pay to be in a country club. You pay to go to dinner.
Right.
You pay to get there. You have to earn your way to stay there, right? You have to earn your way into someone's life to build those relationships and leverage that.
I love that you use the word earn too, and I think you need to make yourself available to earn it.
Yes.
Right.
Yep. Right. You have to be willing to put yourself out there, and it means you have to be transparent and vulnerable.
Mm.
And a lot of people, it's so easy for them to look and say, "Oh my gosh, I see where you are. I want to be where you are." I'm like, "Do you want to go through? But are you willing to go through what I went through to get there? Do you want to have that year of not earning anything?
Yeah.
Where literally you're raking leaves for $20 an hour at your parents' house because you need to like make enough for gas that week while you're still borrowing money from them to pay the mortgage." Like that's where I was.
Well, and it goes back to me joking about Nate's big desk and the credenza, you know.
Yeah.
It might be filled with comic books and animal crackers, but are you willing to be the person, right? And this is the whole it used to be be, do, have.
Yep.
And they pulled have because things you have can be taken away. It's be, do, achieve.
Yep.
Right? Because achievements
Right,
will always be
right,
yours. And
right.
when we talk about like, hey, we're 90 days out today from X, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we always talk about that. It's when you think about, hey, in 90 days, I could have this. Or if you're having a great week, what did 90 days ago look like? And it's not about what you were doing necessarily then. It's more about who you were being.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Who you're surrounding yourself with, your sleep, your nutrition, your activity, your mindset.
90 days out, this flip will have sold. So it's, how are we going to either redeploy that capital and how are we going to give that capital? How do we get to give it away? And sometimes God surprises you with what he calls you to do with the giving. So, and again, you and I have talked that I give because I love it.
Mm-hmm.
It's the right thing. It's what God calls me to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's what I get to do.
Right.
And I share about my giving because I want other people to understand the joy that comes from it, how impactful it can be, how much fun it can be. So we sold the Ferrari recently. After auction fees, we made $2,000 on this car. 4 years of fun.
Shut the front door, really?
But made $2,000, not counting like the expenses of like driving the car for 4 years, whatever. Anyway,
that, kids, is called a liability.
Right? But it was so much fun and sharing it with people. Anyway, there's a nonprofit that we support locally. It's called Friends of Anya. They run support groups primarily focused on children who have lost a loved one, a parent, a sibling, whatever. When my cousins son Oliver passed away, I had just barely been introduced to this charity. They helped my family immensely. So I have this sense of gratitude to them. Anyway, the Ferrari sells. Week later, we're at their annual gala. And Anna and I had talked about like, okay, we made 2,000. We'll give 1,000 to church. We'll give 1,000 to this, and whatever.
Amen.
It's a wash. All good.
Yeah.
So we get in. We're having dinner, whatever, and comes time for the make and ask, right? And they get up, and the founder of the company, she says, no, it wasn't. It was the auctioneer. He said, this is their 10th anniversary. Will anyone kick us off with a $10,000 donation? And I turned and looked at Anna, and she said, maybe we can do that after our investment hits, because we're in this tech fund. She's like, maybe next year after that comes together, we can do that. I'm like, we just sold the Ferrari. The money is in our account. She said, okay. Next thing you know, my hand is going up. And I added a zero to what I had intended to give. And that kicked off the giving that night. I made it okay for other people to say, I can do this.
Yep.
And it was so meaningful to the people, to the people of the organization to say, oh my gosh, people care enough about us that at an event, they had done the fund need was after the auction. We had like through the auction, we're like, no, we don't, no, we're here with $1,000. We don't need a $3,500 vacation. Nope, not interested in buying that. Nope, don't need to buy that. This was just a straight up give that our hearts said no to the auction until the ask happened. And then our hearts said yes. And we said, okay, we get to do that too.
Yes. Then you got home and the wife was like, well, kids, we're not going to Sandals. Dad just blew vacation.
No, honestly, the impact on us was, okay, so for this flip, we're going to put $10,000 of it on a zero interest credit card and pay it when we close. Yep. You just adjust.
Yep.
We just adjusted for it. We knew it was going to be there. We knew it was going to be there.
You and I are both raving fans of V. Mo Anderson.
Oh my goodness!
And the code of conduct or the rules of our culture.
Yep.
And one of them is give at least 7 hugs a day. And I remember we were in Dallas. It was Feb 2020. The world hadn't ended yet.
Yep.
We were about
we
had a KW super spreader. Everybody went to Dallas to get COVID, and then as we all got home, people started to get COVID. But that was February, and I remember she was on stage for the IALC, and of course there was the inspirational morning. I think it was the IALC. Somebody said, "Hey, with our codes of culture, giving 7 hugs." Now it was also during the Me Too movement was gaining steam.
Yeah,
and she said the greatest thing, and I'm sure you remember. She's like, yes, to address that, you can still give 7 hugs, just don't linger, which was fantastic.
Well, I love that you brought up. No, she was another pinch me moment. The first family reunion that I went to, she was doing a book signing. I stood in line for an hour because people had told me how amazing Mo was.
Yep.
And I'd read her book, which was wonderful, and I'd watched some of her videos, and I'm like, everything in my heart says that I should connect with this woman, and I don't feel a connection. And then the opportunity to meet her, I'm like, I don't care how long this line is. Here I am.
Yeah.
And I waited and waited and waited. When you have the blessing of being in Mo's presence, she just has this peace about her. So if you want to talk about what fuels you, when you're in the presence of someone who has such a peace that it just overwhelms you, that everything in your body relaxes, you let your guard down, and you just exist in that moment. Those special people where you can just take a deep breath. Sunday at church, I'm holding 8-month-old Emmett during second service, like in the service. Enzo was holding him. He was a little bit fussy. I'm like, let me take him. So I took him. When babies fall asleep, they take this last cleansing breath that just all is right with the world. And in that moment, you know that they totally and fully trust you, that they've just surrendered. Those are moments that fuel me, whether it's being that for someone else or having that blessing of feeling someone else's peace. that fuels me.
Well, the contention is for people who teach different faiths, the name Yahweh is your first word and your last word, because your
Amen. Yes, it is.
inhale is and your exhale is right. So Yahweh is actually the human
It is
breath
the sound of breath.
Yes.
It is the sound of breath. So when people are frustrated, like, oh, I'm holding my breath, I'm like,
Don't do that.
No. Every time you breathe, you're calling his name. You're praying. That's all prayer is.
Yep.
Embrace it.
And when you're
Embrace it.
hyperventilating, you're thanking and asking for more help as much as possible. As much as possible.
Yeah.
Advice you would give to yourself if you could go back to day one of real estate. And I know you don't have, and I don't ask this, I ask this always, and it's not about regret.
Yeah.
It's about what would you have maybe done quicker?
We are not designed for scarcity. We're designed for greatness and abundance. And there is greatness and abundance in all of us when we're willing to embrace it. The world is not a pie.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, if I take X, then that means someone else has to forfeit X. There is more than enough for all of us, and it just continues to build and grow and blossom. It's not a zero. Life isn't a zero-sum game.
Right.
It's not a zero-sum game. Let's be excited. I didn't get the listing. Let's be excited for the agent who did. Let's go try and find a buyer for them. That's all. That's all. It's not a zero-sum game. And when you get beyond that, who do I get to serve today? How much do I get to give today? What does that look like in our world?
As we wrap up, going back to the moment where you decided you got a subtle vote from Anna, but you decided in the moment to go from $1,000 to $10,000, and you talked about the fact that you gave permission to everybody else to do the same.
Yeah.
And there's a great scene in a movie called Coach Carter, in which at the end, he's the basketball coach and he's got these inner city kids and he's trying to get their grades up. And there's a scene where one of the students at the end stands up and gives the speech, which is the poem, My Deepest Fear.
Yes.
And the line in that is, playing small does not do the world any good, right? You shining your light gives permission for others to be great.
It's printed in a frame on my dining room table.
Of course she is.
Because that is it. We are playing small doesn't do anyone any favors.
Yep.
It doesn't. That doesn't make a better world for anybody.
Yeah. And shining your light gives everyone else permission to do the same.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Christian Scott, thank you so much for
Timothy Lindsay,
out.
it is a pleasure.
The
Thank you
extended
so
remix,
much, sir.
we're closing it on 11:50. It's so funny. Most recently, I moved it from 11 to 10:30.
Yeah.
Because we have midday protocol at 12.
Yep.
And everybody's just like, you tend to run long, which have you met me?
Well, now you have space to.
But yes, now we can go to extended remixes if we need to. If someone wanted to reach out to you to have a conversation with you over coffee or a Cape Cod Waldorf chicken salad. What best way for people to get a hold of you?
Shoot me a text.
Okay.
Hey, I'm going to.
And the number is?
Well, the number is 603-560-5318, or you go to KWCLM Hub, click on Office and Agent Roster.
Yes.
I use that about once a week.
I love that. And I have to give the ladies who were involved in that, when that project was getting built out, we're talking about the Brittany Goodale.
Yes.
We're talking about our dear friend Zoe, and we're talking about our dear friend Melissa. Those three ladies really put that thing on the map. And most recently, and this is so cool for us, and we have a lot of things to be proud of, I was talking to KT Temple, our Market Center tech trainer.
Great guy.
Who is now officially at Southeast Market Center #1 as their Market Center tech trainer.
Okay.
The only other market center he held on to is us, and of course his home market center in the Carolinas.
Yeah.
And he said they were talking at Southeast #1, the market center connected to headquarters, and they're like, we need to build a page for the market center. And he goes, well, I have an example that you should look at. I think it's the best I've ever seen.
Yep.
And they're modeling their hub after our hub.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
Yep. So kudos to the ladies that
between
built that.
Agent Directory and
it's
going to get clauses, whatever. That's my it's my go-to.
And if you've been to orientation recently, we use that to teach orientation, to remind everybody to just use that.
I should go to orientation and just hang out and learn again.
Amen. Amen. Christian, thank you
Beautiful.
so much for
My
hanging
pleasure.
out. You can find
My
him
pleasure.
in the hub
Yes,
under
indeed.
Agent Directory. We're
Yeah.
back in a couple of weeks. I'm on the road next week.
Where you go? Oh,
we're,
no,
we're
that's
going to
right, we were
pick up the
talking.
boy
You're-
at school.
Right,
But if they
right.
keep winning lacrosse games, we might be like hippies in a van following the dead around the country. Because if he keeps winning, we keep going to games. So I'm either back in a week or a month. I don't know. I'm hoping for the latter.
A picture of Tim Lindsay in a van under the bridge down by the
the
river.
Yes, yes, yes. Smoking something out of a lacrosse stick. Who knows? So we'll be back. I think our
Beautiful.
next
Safe travels
scheduled
to you, my
Coffee with
friend.
the Capper is macchiato with a mega. We'll have Luana here. So
Fabulous. That's going to be fun.
we'll be back for that. It will
the
be
best to
fun.
you.
That will definitely go 90 minutes probably.
Yes.
Thank you,
Yes.
Christian. Take
Thanks,
care.
brother.